Hello students, welcome. In this lecture we will see the smart materials. Basically smart materials are the class of dielectric materials. These are also insulating in nature. There are three types of smart materials. One is called as piezoelectric. Here there is a spontaneous charge generation on the application of stress. As you can see here, there is a piezoelectric material. If you apply stress, it will generate a charge, or you apply electric field, it will vibrate. That is called as piezoelectric material. Second type of material is known as pyroelectric material. If you have a pyroelectric material, if you apply heat or temperature, there is a spontaneous charge generation. Those are known as pyroelectric. Basically the meaning of pyro is heat. And the third is ferroelectric material. In the ferroelectric material, we can have a charge generation on the application of electric field. So we have a ferroelectric material here. If you apply electric field, there is a charge generation. So now what is the difference in ferroelectric material and the dielectric material? In the case of dielectric material, if you measure the charge with electric field, it will be a linear, while in the case of ferroelectric, it will be a non-linear. This we will see later. So as you can see here, this piezoelectric, pyroelectric, ferroelectric are the subclasses of dielectric material. It means that if you have a ferroelectric material, it will be dielectric. If you have pyroelectric material, it will be dielectric. If you have piezoelectric material, it will be dielectric in nature. And these materials should have non-centrosymmetry for charge generation. Non-centrosymmetry means their positive charges and negative charges should not coincide. Otherwise, they will make zero charge. So there should be a non-centrosymmetry in the charges. So positive and negative charges should get separated. Let's see one by one. So first is a ferroelectric material. This material possesses spontaneous polarization. That is spontaneous charge generation on the absence of electric field. Remember, if you have a dielectric material and if you remove electric field, dielectric material will not have a polarization. But if ferroelectric material, if you remove the electric field, it will have spontaneous polarization. This material should exhibit permanent dipole moment. And this material generally have very high dielectric constant as equal to more than 5000. In conclusion, you can say that if you made capacitors of this material, they are generally smaller as compared to the dielectric material because of this high dielectric constant. Typical example of ferroelectric material is a BaTiO3. Here we have Ba atoms or Ba ions at the corner. So these corners you can see these are the Ba. This will form simple cubic lattice. The structure we have already seen in the structure of solids. Oxygen ion will be at the face center. These are the oxygen ions. These will form octahedra, and Ti ion will be at the center of the unit cell. So as soon as you apply electric field, this Ti ion will rattle inside a lattice. Will move inside a lattice little bit. That we call as rattling. So due to that rattling, now if you remove the electric field, the Ti ion will get locked in the oxygen octahedra. It will get locked into the oxygen octahedra, and there is finite displacement, and due to that displacement there is a finite charge generation. This is the typical hysteresis loop of ferroelectric material. The ferroelectric name has come from the ferromagnetic because the loop looks like similar to the ferromagnetic material. But in ferromagnetic material, here we have H, that is magnetic field. In ferroelectric material, we have electric field. In the ferromagnetic material, we have H, that is applied magnetic field. In the ferroelectric material, we have polarization. In the ferromagnetic material, we'll have a magnetization. This is analogous to the ferromagnetic. That's why the name ferroelectric is given. Here also we have a resonance field. There is a saturation polarization. That is, after this point, there is no change in the polarization. Again, there is remnant polarization also. Remnant polarization is the polarization at zero electric field. This is the difference in ferroelectric and dielectric materials. If we have dielectric material, if we measure polarization versus electric field, the graph will look like this. At zero electric field, there is no polarization at all. In ferroelectric material, there is a finite polarization. Then the next type is the piezoelectric material. So as I said, if we apply force to the material, it will generate a charge, or if we apply electric field to the material, it will change its dimension, or it will vibrate with that application of electric field. You might have done the ultrasonic flow detector experiment in the UES 012 lab. There we have used the piezoelectric crystal. For the piezoelectric crystal, we apply some electric field and then it will vibrate in the range of 2 to 5 MHz frequency. Right? So here, remember that without any absence of force, there is no polarization. If you apply force, there is a polarization, or if we reverse it, that is, if you apply voltage, there will be a vibration in the crystal, or there will be a dimension change. Piezoelectric materials are generally used as a transducer. Those are the devices which can convert electrical energy into the mechanical strain or vice versa. These are best choice for energy harvesting application. There you can convert vibrational energy into the electrical energy. Some of the piezoelectric materials are titanates of barium, that is barium titanate BaTiO3, or lead, that is PbTiO3, lead zirconate, ammonium dihydrogen phosphate, and quartz. Third type of material is a piezoelectric material, which on application of heat can produce a temporary voltage. That is, if we heat a piezoelectric material, it can produce a voltage. Similarly, if we cool the piezoelectric material, it can produce a voltage. Right? Because due to the change in the temperature, this atomic position changes, and due to that atomic position, there is non-centrosymmetry, and that's why there is a production of charge. This we can measure by measuring the voltage across the crystal. So now if we have a piezoelectric material and we fix the temperature at a particular point, say for example 1000 degrees Celsius, now it is giving some voltage. If I keep that 1000 degrees Celsius for a longer time, what will happen to the crystal? It can cause the following phenomena. First, the voltage will gradually decrease, and that is due to the leakage current through the sample. Leakage current is due to the electrons moving through the crystal, because we are applying constant heat. Due to that heat, electrons will get energy and they will move from one end to another end. If they reach from one end to another end, then we call it as a current. That is the leakage current. Second, we have a crystal. That crystal may have some porosity or may have some voids. If we have an ionic crystal, that ions may migrate through the porosity via air. Third, we have a piezoelectric material and we have used a voltmeter attached to it. There may be some leakage through the voltmeter also, and due to this, the voltage we are getting at a fixed temperature may decrease. Typical example of this is lithium tantalate. And remember that all piezoelectric materials are also piezoelectric, but the vice versa is not true. That is, some piezoelectric materials have some crystal symmetry that do not allow the piezoelectricity.